Humans. The most misunderstood species by far. Some say they are megalomaniacs. Others say they are just very, very naive. I was one of the latter. By heavens, how wrong was I? But none of you can blame me, as if you were on my shoulders when we first encountered them. You would not have had a different idea of them. All started many generations ago. I can consider myself lucky, at least. Lucky to be alive long enough. Lucky to see how wrong I was in the past, so I can teach the ways to those younger than me. We first met the humans in Kulvang 4. I was just a mining overseer back then. They came falling from the heavens, like comets of pure flaming metal. That time I told everyone to go back down, but deep inside me, I knew that we wouldn't survive if it wasn't for a miracle. I stood there on the surface as my subordinates seeked shelter down the mine. I was waiting the shockwave, the dust and flying rocks, but they never came. Instead, we had those metal titans, some biped, some with multiple arms, some large and some not so much. In front of all of them was their leader, I assumed at the time. She was not the biggest, but everyone was moving at her command. I wanted to approach, but who would do such foolish actions? Instead we waited. Days, as they built their own structures. Giant rocks made buildings, piercing the heavens above us. We waited, weeks, as more and more of them come, falling from the skies and landing so gently that it all seemed unnatural. We waited, hoping that we aren't one of their prey. And waited more, hoping they wouldn't turn to us. And waited a little more, hoping they would just leave. But then they came. One of the big bipedal ones approached us, and to our surprise, it could speak our language. Sorry to bother, but aren't you guys getting low on food? Who are you? On hindsight, I can clearly see that my response couldn't be worse. Despite this, the giant was gentle with his words. I couldn't help but notice the lack of respiratory contraction in the body. He seemed so static looking at me. They had a somewhat funny form, with various dark orbs as their eyes. And his hands. Both had a very functional hand with 4 fingers and 2 thumbs. A little more than my species. Oh yeah, my name is Nathan. The giant had told his name to me, and was Nathan. And what are you? I asked. I'm a human. The humans? Oh, I could talk for days about the humans. They are for sure one of the most interesting species out there in our galaxy. And that day our species began a long-lasting partnership. Before I continue and you begin to laugh at me, I was the first Vankin to ever talk to a human. None of us knew them before that very day. And the humans, well, they had their special needs. For a long time the image that we had on the humans was these 15 to 50 thorns in height, various gorns of weight. For decades, they were metallic angels flying among us. Some of us treated them as literal gods because they always descended from orbit directly to the ground. They literally jumped out of orbit ships. They were gentle and kind of childish, always putting the maximum amount of effort in even the most naive projects. Our engineers literally freaked out when they presented their space elevator project. We had that same idea way before FTL travel, but never could make it work. And then there were the humans, saying that their home planet has several of them. We just couldn't believe it. Just 8 months after, there we were, inaugurating our first space elevator. And just after we settled down with humans, allowing them on our most intimate communities, their shells opened in front of our eyes. We really couldn't exactly tell how or why that took so much time. 5 decades at least. But we never had really seen a human, so we thought that those giant things were the humans. They were tiny compared to us, a little more than 2 or 3 thorns in height. We confronted them and asked why they never revealed themselves for us before. Their response was really good. We called those metal giants mechas. They are just the perfect vehicle for space exploration. We created them a long time ago for military purposes, but they were so good that we started implementing them in every way we found useful. From construction to exploration, mechas are the best. You guys really should try.